All right, well, we are at the point where we're ready to tackle our first major project. We've had a lot of big things that we've gotten taken care of, but most of it has been like work my dad did or my uncle did with heating and air conditioning or plumbing. My dad got all of our central air working, put a new hot water heater in for us, and my uncle Dave hooked up our kitchen drain and another drain for our bathroom. So that was a huge help. But what we're tackling now, Carrie and I are going to be refinishing the hardwoods here on the porch that go all the way around and goes all the way around this corner. This was replaced here with Trex at one point. But our plan is I'm gonna rent a floor sander actually this weekend. I have it rented, and I'm gonna sand this whole thing. The wood's in really good shape. It looks so bad because of this chippy blue paint. So we're gonna sand that down and hopefully get rid of this grayish look and get it back to a nice standard hardwood look. And we're thinking we're gonna go with a transparent stain. Try that and see if we can bring the grain out in that wood. And this will just have to be here. I don't think we have plans to change that. We're just going to leave it. I have a feeling at some point down the road we will go to composite, but we're going to give it a shot with this original wood here. And these spots here I'll have to patch in with a new board, but everything else seems to be in pretty good shape. So we're gonna work from the top down. So here's our ceiling that goes all the way around, and this will just get power washed and repainted. The paint is still good on there, but we're just gonna give it a new coat, hopefully match that color as best as we can. And then a lot of this up here will just get wiped down. There's a couple spots of chipping paint that we'll address, but what I'm doing now is I'm taking this paint shaver and I'm sanding off all the chipping paint from the beams here. So I did the paint shaver, which takes the main stuff off, and then I run it with the paint eater, which is right here, and then I take my sander to get it a nice smooth finish. So like a lot of this was the paint eater because it's so aggressive, so like this kind of stuff I need to sand out so it gets nice and smooth. But this tool's pretty neat. I use this at the old house, but it hooks to a shop vac, and what happens is these blades spin really fast, and it takes off small chunks of paint at a time in layers, and then sucks it into the shop vac all the way over there. And hopefully I can demo a little bit how this works. It's a lifesaver for removing paint. It was like $1,000 tool, so it better work well, but seriously one of the best tools I think I've ever purchased, and it makes light work of a big job. All right, gotta keep working. Should be like the wheel, sliced bread, and then the Paint Shaver Pro is the three greatest inventions. All right, we got 3 done, except I got to get the top of that middle one yet. And I couldn't help myself, so I had to do a test sanding to see what exactly this gray, old, worn out floor was going to look like when we put a sander to it. And I think I'm going to be happy with it. We're going to do hopefully a transparent stain to keep that natural wood look. I did really like the color of the paint that they had, but I think the wood look is going to look really cool. So Saturday I rented a sander for 12 hours, so I'm imagining I'll be sanding for 12 hours straight. Hopefully that's not too terrible. But here's the progress. Made a big mess, but I'll have to do a little vacuuming here. All right, little video update. I was at Home Depot at 8 a.m. this morning and rented this floor sander, and after going through this bit here with 40 grit and realizing how long it was taking to get these multiple layers of paint off, I switched over to the paint eater, and in about 10 minutes I had all that done. It literally takes all the layers right off in maybe 2 or 3 swipes. So I'm gonna save the sander for more of the fine finishing and continue my way around, and then I'll have to use the paint shaver up against the brick and then finish with a sander to get that smooth. But yeah, I mean, the sander would have been fine if I owned it and didn't have a timeline to get it back, but I just figured that takes off the most amount of material and still leaves a pretty good finish to finish sand it then. Okay, so we're like maybe an hour in. See how far we get. Update, we took a break for lunch, and that's one coat of 60 grit, 60 grit, and the floor sander stopped working. I've been tinkering with it for the last 25 minutes, and we're returning it to Home Depot. So that put a huge halt to our progress. But Carrie volunteered to run across town and take it back and get a new one. And then I'm gonna grab my sander and start doing the edges here and get those knocked down. And I told her, you might as well rent it for tomorrow now, because we have this whole side to do and we've already spent a half a day. So, but I think this is gonna come out really nice. The paint they used, this blue paint, is incredible. I mean, it is so thick. I mean, there were a couple coats under that, but we're now considering matching that color and getting that paint, because it really held up the thickness wise. I mean, I don't know how long ago it was painted, but just for the thickness alone and sealing this wood. But I don't know, we've done all this work, and I think the wood would look really nice if we just clear coated it with a poly, but I don't know, to be determined. Carrie worked all day today and got the first coat of primer on the floor. And then she also primed up here. And that's all dry now. We had a little bit of a rainstorm come through, so our painting process stopped. But as you can see, our stone there and the front trim pieces are all just covered in green nastiness. Even the boards on the deck and up under there. And my supervisor here, you can see the green on the column there. And then I started power washing. You can see the difference for contrast of what it's supposed to look like versus what it currently was like. There's the stone over there coming around versus that. So that's what I'm working on right now, and we'll do some after shots here. All right, I moved up to the deck. I'll give you a little walk around. The boards are all in good shape here. I don't think they were pressure treated. Well, they might be, but they just were never cared for after it was put down, cleaned, or I would think we're gonna probably put a stain on this, but I'll let that up to the boss. But you can see I did one board already. And there's the clean one, and there's the one that has all the dirt on it. So I think it's going to come out looking pretty nice, and then we'll throw a coat of paint on those columns.